Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Come on a walk with me and I'll tell you why I stopped buying stocks. Now, as you know, I'm very passionate about investing, and as many of us, obviously I started investing in stocks a couple of years ago, and I was super excited, every month investing in small amounts of money to build up my stock reserves and stock holdings. And it was amazing to study the companies and research them, and over time see the portfolio grow, and I loved it, and I still do. But given the current market dynamics and what's happening in the markets, it's a little bit difficult for me to justify to continue doing this, especially when you look at some of the big established companies such as PayPal, which recently dropped by 67%, or Spotify, which dropped by 54%, and Meta or Facebook, which dropped by almost 45% from their recent highs. So, people talk about cryptocurrency being volatile, but Bitcoin actually only dropped by around 39% from the all-time highs. So yeah, that really makes it more and more difficult for me to justify to continue investing into it. Also, there's another important point: actively managed funds. That means funds where you pay a fee for professionals that's supposed to manage and maximize your money. Only 67% of them manage to outperform the S&P 500, the market, so to say. So yeah, that's why if I see these big companies, mutual funds, actively managed funds, struggling to outperform the market, what makes me think that I can do that? And I do have a few companies that I'm passionate about and for the future may continue to invest, such as Apple and so on. But also, who's to say that Apple may still exist in 10 years, right? Some of the big companies in the past, they were huge behemoth companies and they completely disappeared. And I don't know what's the future going to be. There's so much disruption. There's going to be regulations. You see right now with the situation in Russia and Ukraine, entire companies were forced to shut down in a big market such as Russia because of pressure or regulation. And they're going to drop huge amounts of revenues and thus profit, and that will impact the stock price. So how can I predict this possibly? And so I think it's safer to invest in the S&P 500 or the global stock market, whatever you prefer. I prefer the US market because I think US is still going to be the biggest economy in the world, possibly second if they get overtaken by China, but nonetheless it's going to be a huge player, right? And I don't know who's going to be exactly in the top 500 or even the top 10 biggest companies in the US, but I do know that there is going to be a top 10 and a top 500. Which ones exactly, I don't know. And that's why I want to increase my odds and invest into S&P 500, which traditionally over the last 50-60 years has returned anywhere from 8 to 10%, which I'm totally fine with, right? I don't need to speculate or 10x my gains overnight. I just want to have consistency and safety and security of my investments. And yes, I love research and looking into stocks and analyzing them. But again, in the case of PayPal, which had really strong financials and shouldn't have dropped by 60%, well, they did, because overall market sentiment or just, bad PR, what have you, really overrules even a balance sheet or P&L of a company. And for me, that is really hard because I can't predict the news. I can analyze the data and based on that make my judgment. But if that's not even more important, then, it begs the question, why would I make this gamble in the first place? It's like going to the casino and play roulette, I believe it is, and put your bet on one specific numbers. Well, if that number comes, obviously your return is going to be huge. On the other hand, though, you're probably better off on going 50-50 on black or red because, your returns are lower, but also your odds of losing everything are significantly lower. But for me, definitely, I'm not really into taking such huge gamble for a potentially lower return, right? Because if I want to take a huge gamble, I better go into the crypto market where my returns are also going to be way higher. So that's my opinion on that. Now, another important factor to consider is, of course, the budget and what you have available to invest, right? I don't have infinite resources, like I guess none of us has, so I have to be very conscious about how much I allocate to what goes into stocks, what goes into ETFs, and what goes into crypto, which of course I'm a big fan of. So that's why I also said, I believe in the upside of crypto so much more, and as you can see in recent times, volatility is actually the same, if not less, for some of the established cryptocurrencies. So, again, why would I take more of my money, invest into stocks, which I could rather invest in crypto and have a high upside? Of course, nobody knows, it may also collapse. It's a risk and I'm willing to take the risk, but for a higher upside. And that's why I made the decision a couple of months ago that for now I'm not planning to buy stocks. I will invest most of my money into ETFs, buying the market index, and I buy the VUSA, which is the Vanguard 500 biggest companies in the US from the S&P 500, and the rest I divide into cryptocurrency and P2P lending. Cryptocurrency, obviously, you know that I'm a big fan, and more investing most of it into Bitcoin because I'm really becoming a Bitcoin maximalist and I see the long-term opportunity of that rather than so many other coins which I think in the future will disappear, even though others will stay. But yeah, definitely the Bitcoin is my biggest holding. And secondly, into peer-to-peer lending. So that's something I started recently and I really started enjoying as it gives me daily interest payments. And yeah, overall, as you know, I love passive income. And that's another reason why I didn't buy stocks too much, because some of those stocks that I liked, they actually don't pay a dividend. So that means I only get a potential stock appreciation. So if they they do drop, I get nothing, right? So yeah, one of my favorite parts of investing is actually passive income, getting regular income from my investments. And I'm a long-term investor, and I understand that I need to hold for a long time to get compound interest and returns over time. But if I don't get anything right now and I just need to invest every month and then build it up so that in 50 years I can retire on it, for me it's not really exciting because, I want to also get something out of it. So that's why I think dividend stocks, and especially dividends from ETFs, again, market index paying me dividends, it's amazing. Crypto, I can get crypto staking rewards every month, every day even. And P2P, which is paying me daily interest, which I can cash out on. So that's really amazing. So yeah, guys, I'm definitely not saying stocks are bad. On the contrary, I love them. And it definitely doesn't mean that I'm never ever going to invest in them. Just at this very moment, I don't think they fit in my investment strategy. I'll rather focus on ETFs, as I said before, and the crypto, which pays me passive income. And that's what I love, and that's what I want to do more of. And if that sounds interesting and you also want to learn more about how you can make passive income from your investments, then check out the video over here where I'm going to run you through that. As always, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. It really means the world to me. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.